my goodness. There's always something new and fun and fresh, right? So as we were going live, I got a notice that said it wasn't recording our show because there was too much from previous shows in the cache. So I had to go back, delete a bunch of stuff, and then come back in fresh. So apologies, everybody. I know you were all waiting with bated breath to watch our show, but hopefully everything's fine. If nothing else, we're going to have a live show for you this morning with really important up-to-date stuff. So I'm Ann Rossley. I'm here with my friend, dear colleague, Kyle Harvey. We're with Baird and Warner in the Gold Coast office. We love downtown Chicago real estate. Today, we have lots of great stuff to bring you. We're going to talk stats as always, but we're going to talk about property taxes because it's the triennial reassessment year for most of us in our viewing area. And then Kyle's got a great segment about how fast will it sell with some properties that we're going to look at and track. So that's the story for the day. Thank you for your patience. We're happy to be with you. All right. Because it's April 29th and we don't have new stats, I'm going to be really quick with what we've got going on here. This is, let me get rid of our names. This is information on the Lakefront communities. Again, first single family homes. There are currently 401 on the market. 84 have closed so far this month, and the average sales price is $1,394,000. Now, we typically will look at median sales price when I give you the statistics, and that's $1,350,000. But interesting, look at the marketing time. 64 days on the closed is the average marketing time.
That's really what's interesting is the market time for the active ones with the higher price is longer.
Yes, exactly right. Okay, so then attached, which includes condos, co-ops, and townhomes, there are currently 3,626 on the market. And if you remember, the high during COVID was 6,660. 991 have closed so far this month with an average sales price of $530,000. So again, it's the higher price that brings up the average. We typically talk median sales price, and that's $410,000. But look at the market time, 57 days on a condo.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty low and good. So
well, remember, because we're looking at averages, we've got a bunch of the very high price condos in that figure to drive up the average, and they just take longer.
Exactly right. Okay. So this is a little bit more difficult to see, but you can at least see the trend. Green is last year, blue is this year. Closed listings for all of the Midwest area, 2296 for this week last year, 2293 for this week this year. So these are okay. So that's closed. However, look at listings under contract. Every week we're higher than last year. And most recently 3202 versus 2902. So we're really selling out what's on the market. And we got a new showing time report. So that's,
can we go back just a moment?
Sure.
We saw in Frame Chicago Business quite an alarmist story about how drastically off March was. That sales were really down. Didn't you remember seeing that?
Yes.
Such a disaster. Now, that says that February and January were slower. And if you look here, you see that they did not achieve January and February, though February starts to pick up, the same kind of contracts. But we're also seeing these trends. What do you think's happening? Are things going under contract and falling out of contract? I mean, what is going on that
we have more listings under contract than last year, but fewer closed?
You know, I'm just trying to get a feel for it, because I look at this starting in mid-February. There are a lot more under contract than last year. So you would think that in March and early April, a lot more would close, right?
Meaning, if we go back to this previous slide, why is last year so much higher and closed?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a sense, because I've been involved in a number of transactions where they've been very fragile and some have fallen out of contract.
So I think that could be part of it. They've fallen out. I think another thing might be their new construction where they're under contract for a long time.
But
Yeah.
where is this new construction? This is across the Chicago, as I like to say.
Yeah, this is the whole Midwest market
The whole
area.
area that is within MRED, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just interesting to see the data sometimes tells us things that other things, I mean, yeah.
Right. I know what you're saying. Really, the closed is what matters.
Yes,
But under contract, it's looking positive.
it sure is. Absolutely.
So, and under contract is really what? 60 days on average to closing. So you're right. We should start seeing that residential close number going higher. Okay. So check out the snapshot of showing time. So now we're into March. Last week, we only had through February, and
Wow.
it's 214 is the index. Remember, it arbitrarily is to January of 2014, but it's lower than last year. Again, this is the Midwest area, but it's higher than February. And maybe we're going to see showing index of like 230 for April when that finally comes out. You know, why these contracts are higher than closings. Maybe it was a slower start. But look back to November when it was slow, it was 119. So there's more foot traffic, there's more action. It's looking positive.
I'm seeing it very positive. I'm also sort of wondering, I spend a lot of time not using showing time, unfortunately, when I have buyers. And there are a lot of people who refuse to use showing time when they're making appointments with my listings, even though I require it. So maybe it's just the data's not in it. It's imperfect data, people.
Well, all data is, and it's all, big picture. Every property in micro neighborhood varies. Like my 940 Castlewood, good gravy. It's getting like 6 to 8 showings a week, So
yeah.
Anyway, mortgage rates 7.17 is not the highest we've been in the last 52 weeks, of course, but it's higher. We were hoping they would be coming down. So that's something to note. Rents are, if you see on the far right of this chart, they're down a little bit, but they're still very strong. Here are 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms. You can see that in the last 30 days, they've come down, but it's still higher than previous year, ranging from 11 to 23% over previous year. So that's where we are. Rents continue to be high. Interest rates are high, but
brutal. I mean, rents are brutally high. I know a lot of young people, especially, just have no ability to move out of their parents' house or just can't afford it. It's
challenging,
crushingly difficult. So
speaking of crushing, 2024 is the Chicago Reassessment, folks. So if you own property in downtown Chicago, please take notice of this. And I'm going to run through it fairly quickly. The townships you see on the screen are the ones that are being reassessed this year. And I'm going to run through very quickly, but tell you what you need to know about property taxes. You're going to get a form that looks like this. Don't worry that you can't read it all. I've highlighted in yellow. This cracks me up. What it says is no action is necessary. Well, don't pay attention to that. Everybody should pay attention. Action is necessary when you get your tax bill, and I'll be showing you why. In the middle of that letter is a section that looks like this, and it shows you what your estimated market value, in this case, 2022, it was 310 in the example they give. And then 10% of that is your total assessed value, which is the number that they use for figuring your property taxes. But a lot of you are going to see the 2022 number go up. All right, here's what you need to know. Property taxes are paid in arrears. So you've already paid for 2022 taxes. And in March of this year, you paid for the first half of 2023. You paid exactly 55% of the 2022 total. Now, when we get the August 1 bills, they'll be for the balance of 2023. And that depends on the budgets for state and county. The reassessment on your value happens every 3 years. And your payment is based on that value and the multipliers, which I'll get to in a second. Cook County taxes that were paid in 2023, 17.6 billion. That was up 909 million. For the 29th consecutive year, property taxes went up. Over 29 years, it went up 37.9%. Now, they'll tell you that you don't necessarily owe more just because the tax bill goes up, because there are all kinds of factors that account for your property taxes. The assessor looks at your value and the Board of Review looks at your value, but then they pepper in the Department of Revenue. Then the assessor comes in and applies your value. Then the local governments put in their budgets. Then the county clerk gets the multiplier. And then it's finally the treasurer who prints and sends out your property taxes. So the CPS, Chicago Schools, increased their budget by $311 million in 2022-23, which will be reflected in our taxes this year. This was interesting. They think that newly constructed properties will absorb that increase, so it won't be reflected in current homeowners' taxes. And at first, okay, I misinterpreted this and I thought, oh, you mean like new construction, like, new construction properties are assessed at a higher number. So then I went and I looked and I saw that the two properties that sold at 9 Walton, they actually accounted for 2.2% of their sales price. Their taxes as a percent of their sales price was 2.2. And then ding dong, and I realized what they meant is properties coming into the marketplace,
all that new back tax,
like new 363 Wacker, new 14 Superior, new Tribune Tower, and the houses in the suburbs and all that stuff. New construction's good because it gives us more properties. Interesting to note, the median property owner in Chicago pays $3,704 per year in taxes, and that's a 3% increase. These are all the different taxing bodies, and if you can't read it, don't worry about it. But when you get your tax bill, it'll show you all of these. It'll be like the Water Reclamation District and the CPS and the library and whatever else. And they all come together to create the budget for the county. And that's used to determine your value. So I heard an attorney get really upset at me once when I quoted this number, but it is true. The rule of thumb is your property taxes are generally about 1.5% of your sales price. So if you're way above it, that's a good clue that something may be a little off. If you're way below it, pat yourself on the back, you've got a bargain. That's just 1/5 of a percentage point higher than the average among the 53 most populous cities measured in the study, which I think is interesting. We all complain about how high our taxes are, but
cities are high.
Cities are high, and we're right in there. What I found interesting when I read this article, commercial is not 1.5% of value, it's 4% of value, making it the highest among these 53 cities. And we wonder why Boeing and all these people are leaving us.
Well, they don't own any property.
Well, but it's reflected in the rents of their buildings.
So that is really interesting. One of the things that, can you go back one slide? One of the things that reformers are looking at is when you look at, this is the agency type, but there are so many little agencies that we don't see them doing anything, and they really don't do anything. They are patronage protected jobs. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of overlap and consolidation that could occur if reformers, if our legislators had any political will, that right. A lot of this could go down.
Right.
So much of our tax bill is through waste. We have 8,000 apparently townships in Illinois. Unbelievable.
Right.
And townships pretty much do nothing anymore. They're just a name.
Yeah.
So it is a larger reform that needs to happen for our taxes to go down. It's not just
Right.
less of our money. To do that, we have to get rid of some of this overlap in waste. Now, one last thing.
Yes, go ahead.
I can't tell you how many sellers that I've been working with who live in Chicago, live here, and do not have the homeowner's exemption.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Okay,
So let me show you this. This is a house you may recognize because we've talked about it often.
beautiful.
And I just want to go through the history of this to show you how important it is to pay attention to your taxes.
Oh,
So in 2022,
mhm.
they had a first installment bill of $14,120. That represented, as I've told you just now, 55% of their previous year's bill. However, then look what happened. The second half of their bill was $33,000 for a total of $47,000. Now, I happen to know they went through a huge renovation, had to take out city permits. The city knew about the increase in the value of their home. So boom, they got hit. I don't think this is accurate. I can't imagine they would be delinquent. So $26,000 due March 1st of 2023 is 55% of that $47,000. But I thought here's the interesting part, the punchline. Their taxes have gone up 746.92% since 2003. However, I know for a fact that this was during a tax-free property tax, historic tax freeze. So look at that. The tax freeze that I tell everybody to take advantage of is so helpful because it had kept them down in this 5,000 range, and now they're closer to 50,000. Isn't that cray-cray? So,
but it's a beautiful house.
It is a beautiful house. And okay, so this is an example that they publish that shows you kind of how they figure it out. The example they give is for 100,000. It's more appropriate in our neck of the woods to call it $1 million. That's what most people for a single family home would relate to. But anyway, 10% is what they use to get the assessed value. Okay. Then they employ the state equalizer, which is a number the county gets every year. This number is determined by the budget and The 2022 factor was 2.923. But here's the thing to pay attention. We get this all the time. How much does my homeowner's exemption mean for savings to me, right? Because you were saying people don't get it. Here's where it affects. It's $10,000 for everybody if you live in the primary residence, okay? So if you live in the home that's being taxed, $10,000 comes off of this equalized value. If you have the senior exemption, you get another $8,000 off.
Beautiful.
But that's then applied. And in this example, the tax rate was 8%, yielding $1,500 in taxes for that. So obviously, if it were $1 million house based on this, it'd be about $15,000. Actually be more because it wouldn't be $100,000 off. But anyway.
Here's another reason, though, to do it. First of all, the tax savings, especially on to Ann's point, the lower end of the property. If you got, a 2-bedroom, a cute little 2-bedroom at Sandburg, you definitely want your homeowner's exemption. And if you're a senior, your senior exemption, because that's really going to affect your taxes.
It is in a big way. So
wait. When you sell, you do this. Okay. Do you want to do this? I'll talk about this later. The when you sell issue.
About how it should continue.
Well, when you sell, if you don't have the exemptions to which you're entitled, you are creating a situation where they don't know what the taxes are going to be because they're going to get a homeowner's exemption. And you didn't have a homeowner's exemption during the period they're going to have to pay your taxes because it's in arrears. So it just becomes a bit of a mess. If you live in the city and own property, get a homeowner's exemption on your property. And if you're a senior, get the senior exemption. That's it.
Well, and it used to be seniors had to apply every year for their tax.
Right.
And that was so unfair. They finally changed it.
I'm getting younger. Next year, I'll be younger.
Yeah, there you go. If you make less than $65,000 a year, you can get the senior freeze exemption. Then there are all kinds of other disability and VA exemptions possible. We won't go into them here. Okay, again, people, So there are two ways to save money on your taxes, other than changing what the budget is for all these different taxing organizations. Number one, your exemptions. That's the first and easiest thing you can do. The second thing you can do to decrease your property taxes is in the assessed value. Okay, so these people are open for appeals. Oak Park, Berwyn, New Trier, Palos. The last filing date for the first appeal for Rogers Park has already passed, but look who's coming up: West Chicago, Lakeview, Hyde Park. And this
But
is
some of them are today, people. I saw one that the date was today, so get on it. Just file the appeal. You don't have to do anything. Just file the appeal.
Just file the appeal. Exactly right. And then you have time to get the stuff
Where
in.
do
And
you
this
file
is,
it, Ann? Where do you file it?
you can do it online through the Cook County Assessor's Office.
Good.
So this is like an example of how they figured out Rogers Park. And, again, it's just so crazy. But here's the thing. Each township has a window. You have to be in that window. You have 30 days to file your appeal. And if you miss the deadline, you have to wait another 3 years. So check the Cook County Assessor's website. They'll be coming out soon. How do you appeal? 3 ways. Lack of uniformity, meaning they're taxing you differently than 3 other homes in your neighborhood that are just like yours. Overvaluation. Maybe yours is a fixer-upper and you paid way below market for it, but they think it's worth more. That's another reason to appeal. Or incomplete property description. Maybe they list you as, having a 50 by 175 foot lot, but you really only have a 25 by a 100 foot lot. Or maybe you only have a 3-bedroom and they think you've got a 5-bedroom, or whatever. But those are all reasons for appeal. You want to gather evidence based on appraisals, comparable data, and focus on market value. And everybody can find their property tax information via cookcountypropertyinfo.com. Finally, and this is my last slide, it can be well worth it to hire an attorney to help you. Most attorneys will charge you a percentage of your savings for the first year. So in other words, if they save you $10,000, I've seen them charge $3,000. But you'll have 2 more years of savings from the work that they did. And because you're paying on a contingency, it's well worth it.
They do this for a living. They know how to do it. They get it done.
Right. And Kyle and I were talking before going on today that condo buildings oftentimes will hire someone for the whole building. So it's important you speak to your board on the condo association to find out and make sure that they're ready to go. But you know what? It's not too early, Kyle, is it, to hire your attorney and get them in place, because then they'll be sure not to miss the 30-day window when it hits this year.
No, and you can have them sort of on, you're a repeat business person, so they will let you know well in advance when the next one comes. If you still own the property, they'll say, yes, let's take a look at it. Now, for condo buildings, again, don't assume that your condo building does this, but most that have professional management do. So right. If you are in a 3-flat, you should work with the co-owners with you to right. Make sure you get in there and file an appeal. File an appeal, even if it turns out, oh, the data's right. You can, let it go. But right. you have to tag by there's one of these townships today to get in line so that you're considered. So it is a drop dead date, and their response will be sorry, too late. And they want you to skip it because it's easier for them if they don't have to go through this appeal process. So right. do it, be on it, pay attention to your taxes, people. We can't complain about our taxes if we're not paying attention to it. Good point. All right. There we go. So now we have a new feature.
How fast will this sell?
How fast will this sell? Now we've been showing you new properties that we thought are interesting. And some of them are newer, and I've also been just showing you houses. So during the past month, so the 3 shows we've had this month, or the 2 other shows we've had this month, April 1st and April 22nd, none of those houses have gone under contract. They were interesting houses. They were big houses. A bunch of them were vintage. Vintage takes longer to sell. Would you agree, Anne?
I would agree, yes.
Yeah, because there's not everybody wants that aesthetic. But only one of them, this really great house on Damon that had a wide lot, and the house was at the back and the front yard, which is sometimes tricky. And it was all, and they've lowered their price $100,000. So they really are looking to sell. But the rest have sort of stood pat. All the others are still out there, unsurprisingly. That one on Fullerton, still there. The one that needs everything. It needs to be rebuilt. Okay, so now let's look at our new properties. Anne, will you pop them up?
I don't have them.
You don't have them.
I can do it though.
Let me see if I can do it.
Is that the first one?
I just did. Wait, no, that's the third one.
Okay, hold on. I can do this. There we go.
There we go. Hi. So will you take rid of our names, because I've made a little cute. I am not Ann Rossley when it comes to graphics, but I try. So can we? I can't move it. You're gonna have to move
it. Then I'll move it.
So this is 1619 West Byron. It is the first of two flats that has been turned into a single family home. And they gave us the first shot was one of those, Instagram, what do you call them? Vertical shots.
Oh.
For doing this for you. So this is what the house looks like.
Okay.
And look at this aesthetic. It is on the market. It is a 5-bedroom, 2 of which are in the basement, at 4 and 2 half-bath house on the market for $1,775. But look at how pretty it's done. They don't know the year it was built, but it was rehabbed in 2024. It was rebuilt in 2023. So it's been made very modern, very contemporary, a nice Scandi feel. What do you think?
It's lovely. Absolutely lovely.
The basement bar. So this is, okay, so a couple things, people. One, they didn't give me a floor plan, which I'm going to tell you, if you're trying to sell a house, give a floor plan.
Who the heck, cheap realtor doesn't do a floor plan for their client? I'm sorry.
Not for their client, for us.
Yeah, well, I know, but it helps sell when it's, okay, people.
This is their backyard. How fast is this going to sell?
A floor plan prevents stupid showings, because people who really have a reason, that they can't buy your home won't bother you with the showing. They entice people because people can envision it. They make it a more productive showing. They get agents to show your property more frequently. There is no reason on God's green earth to not have a floor plan of your home. Demand it of your listing agents.
All of that's true. And here's the thing. So a number of these, the listing pictures were in an order that made you sort of say, or made me say, huh? And a floor plan provides the person, and most often they're the buyers themselves, not just the agents, an ability to understand the story that is being told through the pictures.
Yeah.
If you don't have a floor plan starting in the middle of the house, you're like, wait, where am I? Where's that picture? So floor plan. But
okay, so what's your prediction on this one? How fast is it going to sell?
So here are a couple things. Taxes, it's $12,000. So it's going to be big time reassessed. This is the pre-rehab.
Taxes were $4,000, did you say?
No, $12,000.
12,000. Oh yeah, they're going to go up big time.
They're going to get hit, people. And they're not going to have a whole lot to say about the hit. I think this will go rather quickly. I think this one might sell fast. Now, the lack of a backyard, and there's no story about what's on top of that garage roof. That looks like a new garage. Have they built a deck? Perhaps what they've done is they've made this, they haven't invested in the deck. So There may be more, but they don't tell you any of those stories, tell you any of that story in this listing. So I'm thinking it's going to go. I don't know that it'll go for the full price. What do you think, Ann? It's been on the market for 4 days.
You're exactly right. It's really difficult for us to predict based on the lack of information in the listing. So,
but it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
If they had done the things that Ann and I are talking about, the buying public would totally understand this house.
Yeah.
But right now we don't.
Exactly right. All right.
So, yeah, this is a standard. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it's a standard lot.
Oh, wait.
No. Next one is the previous one. This is 3747 North Wayne. Now, people, again, well, there is a floor plan for this, but they put the floor plan, they hide the floor plan. You come in, and this is what greets you. So this is the first shot for the listing.
You know, oh my goodness. Okay. Again, people demand that you know your pictures are right. This, okay, what is this? 2 rugs? All the shoes? This was not done properly.
No. First of all, I tried to see if there was a tenant, that this was a tenant. You're going to see how dirty this house is. So, but also, so where am I? And where we are is that they have oriented this house. The dining room is in the front. So you enter the house into the dining room.
That's not something people aspire to have.
Oh. So this is the living room, family room behind the kitchen. I know.
But that's great. It's great.
It's private, and you'll be very happy there. Oh, so people, this house is on the market for $1,695. It is 4 bedrooms, one of which is in the basement, 3.5 baths.
Oh dear.
Unmade bed.
Oh,
I mean, look, people. This is why I think it has to be a tenant, that they were not allowed to clean it up.
Oh, but you know what? You and I attend our photographs. We wouldn't have let that happen. We would have made the bed if we'd had to.
No, we would have been, oh my God. And our photographer would have been barking at us.
Yes.
Get it all out. So are there any other pictures? This is the outdoor space. Look at that unholy mess of garbage on the wall. That's a pretty backyard. They have, so there's the basement gym mess.
Oh.
I mean, this is a nice house. It's been on the market 3 days. It was a 2-flat. It's been made into a single family home. It's got here, so they gave me a floor plan, bless you. But look,
that's good.
The house, foyer, dining room. I mean, I would have oriented the kitchen in the living room. You know, I would have pulled the living room. I don't know.
Exactly right. I would have done sitting formal area in the front, and then done a combination. Like, you've got room back here. Don't call it a living room. Call it a dining family room, and put a big dining table in the back here where they just had that ugly rug, right?
Yeah, and I would have gotten rid of this closet thing, except for apparently that's a structural support. Here's the thing. This was rehabbed in 2009 during a time when, remember what happened in 2009? Nothing was selling.
Right.
And so somebody turned a house into something that they could live in. And there are good things for this house, but okay, people, I wonder if the mess is going to prevent this from selling fast. When do you think this is going to sell? It's in a good neighborhood.
It is.
47 North Wayne. Blaine's part of the Blaine School District.
Yeah, and that is, it's going to sell. It's going to sell quickly.
Okay.
Because even though it's ugly.
But that's a high price for ugly.
Yeah, I know, but that Blaine School District is going to.
There's also a 3-car garage.
Oh, what size lot is this? Is this?
So here's the taxes. So, because remember, this house has been around for a while. The taxes are $25,500. So, I mean, I don't know how much that will go up. Depends on the sale price. Okay.
Interesting.
Next, now Winona. So those are about the same size. Those 2 houses are in the 4,000 square foot range. This is a much smaller house, 3,000 square feet in Andersonville, 1421 West Winona. And again, it's one of those.
Winnemac. Yeah, this is going to go probably fast. I have to see the inside, but
Look how darling it is.
yeah, that's cute. All open.
Anyone could impose what they want on it.
Right.
Cute little office in the back.
How many, what's the lot size on this? Do you know?
I do. It is 38 by 15.
Oh, so it's a tiny lot.
No, 38 by 115.
Oh, 38 by 115. Yeah. Oh, wow. So it's a lot and a half wide.
Yes, but it's a little shorter. And they have a 2-car garage and 4 exterior spots. Okay, what's that?
But a decent lower level. Oh, yeah, this is going to fly. Yeah. This is going to fly.
It's been on the market 5 days. My guess is it'll be on when we get together next week. It will be gone.
Yeah.
It's in Andersonville, darling. And Winnemac's a cute street, even though I call it Winona. They're close to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. All right.
Yeah.
So that's the story, Morning Glory. My brother, I have to give a shout out to my brother quick at the end of the day. He's been working for 2.5 months to get his property ready to sell in Cincinnati. He put it on at 6:29 on Saturday morning, had 12 showings. By the end of the day, had 2 offers and is under contract at 675.
What did he do to prepare? Did he do special things to prepare it?
Well, so here's the thing. His agent had suggested that he do staging. He did not want to invest in that, but he decluttered. He did serious cleaning. He made repairs where necessary.
That's it.
And, I mean, it doesn't show like a show place like the first property you showed, but it was neat and clean. The photographs were right. Yeah.
Did what was necessary.
Hard work for him to get it ready.
The price.
Yeah.
He provided the information that made buyers know that they were getting what they.
So anyway, it pays off, everybody. When you do that hard lifting, it will pay off. Yep. So that's our show this week. Thanks for watching. Send us your questions. We're always happy to chat. Anything else, Kyle, before we say goodbye?
Have a great week.